Hey, good morning, Kara. Don't be alarmed. My name is Ed Lively. I'm a friend of your dad. I'm a neighbor down the street here. He said he'll be back in a few minutes, but he had to go upstairs and do something about his sock drawer reorganizing or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But he said I could fill in for a little bit with any leadership issues that you've got or questions that you might have. I'll see what I
Okay.
can do to help out, okay?
Okay, sounds great.
I'm here to
Sounds
I'm here to serve.
perfect. Thank you. All right, friend. So as you're already hopefully enjoying, welcome to Tutum Talk with Kara Nance. I have the distinct honor of having my dad, my amazingly hilarious father on Tutum Talk
Hey,
with
sweetie, I had to kick Ed out. He was interfering with everything here. Really didn't ask him to come over. He just showed up.
he's
So he's out of here now. So
like a good neighbor. Ed Lively is there.
that's
Yes,
lovely.
yeah, maybe that was some copyright. Yeah, like, sorry, State Farm. I do use State Farm for my insurance though, so, thank you, Pam Herndon. There's a plug. Thank you, Pam Herndon, State
Okay.
Farm agent in Chapel Hill. Yes, the State Farm agent of Chapel Hill. Yes, anyway. All right, Dad. Thank you so much for being on the show. Very excited to explore leadership in the everyday and beyond with you. And as I've shared with folks, my parents in on the About Us page on my website, I share that where I learned leadership first was very much in the home with the teachers known as mom and dad, and then Colin Powell, John Wooden, like I was raised with leadership principles. It was like breathing and drinking water. It's just what you do. So it was a little bit of shock to me as I grew up and started to get out in the world a bit more, especially in the workforce, and being a little bit surprised that not everybody operated that way. So
Yeah.
I learned pretty quickly that it was a unique raising, all the
Yeah,
more
it's a similar
reason to
experience in my life.
yeah, right. There you go. There you go. So, Dad, and honoring also that you love your preferred name is Colonel, so I will do my best. That feels a little bit of a stretch for me. I rarely call you Colonel
That's
or my
Lieutenant Colonel, but
right, right.
in the short version, okay.
Yeah. My
Barb
I
calls me and some other people, but
yeah.
that kinda started because in our ad agency down here in Florida, there were 5 Steves in the company at one time. So, the senior partner was Steve Martin, so he got to keep his name. Then I'm Colonel. The other Steve was Butthead, and then I won't go into the other names, so, but,
See?
the
Have
Colonel,
fun in
yeah.
leadership. Yep. Principle number 1, if you're not having fun, it's not worth it. Like, yep, there you go. All right, Pop. So I'll just add that last little bit that your eldest, my oldest brother, he calls you Colonel pretty easily. And I was just like, that's like a Scott thing. So to even say Colonel feels like I'm like using
Just
Scott's word
call
for
me
you.
dad. You call me dad, that's fine.
Okay, there you go. So I'm gonna share your also a very short bio. I love how my parents have illustrious careers, and they truly embody humility with their bios because it's all of like 3 sentences with their amazing illustrious careers. And Dad, so I'm gonna share with the audience your bio, and then
Okay, no
we'll get it.
embellish were needed.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So Steve Nance, Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Nance, quick
Retired.
bio, is the oldest of 6 siblings,
Yep,
father of 3 children,
yep,
20.5 years active duty in the US Army,
yes,
Vietnam veteran,
yes,
advertising executive,
yes,
and more than 15 years as a condo association board member and president.
yes,
Whew!
and I'm not done.
Exactly.
I'm in my
Exact
80th orbit around the sun, so there's more to do.
There you go. There you go. All right, Pop. So, would you like to just get right into the questions that I crafted, or is there
We
more that you would like to share with that very succinct bio?
Yeah, I think that, a lot of what I am today, obviously, is we're creatures of our environment and
Mhm,
our upbringing, basically.
mhm,
And like you said, I was the oldest of 6 and, a father who was a merchant marine during World War II, and a bit of a disciplinarian, I would say. As the eldest, I was expected to kinda take care of the siblings, the younger ones. So it was me and John and Richard were all born within 3 years. Then there was a hiatus for about 7 years or so. Then in 55, your Aunt Diane was born, and in 57, your Uncle Mark. And then when I was a senior in high school, or about to go be a senior in high school, your youngest aunt, my youngest sister, Hepsy, was born when I was 17 years old.
Right.
So during that process of growing up in that house of 2 bedrooms and 1 bath, when I left, he broke my dinner plate when I enlisted in the Army. They said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I can't go back and eat there anymore because I left and he broke my dinner plate." So, anyway, I only knew Hepsi for like 2.5 years, and now
Right.
she just lives up north here about an hour away
Yeah.
and, in Sarasota, so, and we stay in touch quite a bit, and her sister Diane's out here too in Florida.
Right.
But, yeah, the whole issue with being raised like that is that it's putting me in charge at such a young age. You know, we had a lot of responsibilities with chores, had paper routes starting when I was about 11 years old. We earned money cutting grass, babysitting, that sort of thing,
Right.
and, I stayed at home through junior college, finished my education in police science, and, that was 1966, and the draft was breathing down our neck, and I didn't honestly have the grades to go on to Cal, where I wanted to go to Cal Berkeley and get a crim degree.
Mm.
So I enlisted for the military police and went in the Army at that point. So if
Mhm.
you wanna start with your questions, I think we can pick up from there, and then I'll elaborate as we go through.
Sure, sure, and you're reminding me, where your journey took you was 1st Cavalry at Fort Benning, Georgia, and
No, first cab was in Vietnam.
oh, was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
Fort Benning was, an infantry officer candidate school.
Oh, okay. I just saw a 1st Cavalry, and for listeners, it's the little horse in the upper left quadrant with a stripe
Yeah,
and kind of an old like, kind of a
yeah,
oval of
it's a
sorts?
division patch for the first it's
Right,
the largest patch that the Army has for, division designation, and
right, yeah,
they say it's the horse they never rode, the line they never crossed, and the yellow is the reason why, which is a terrible thing to say.
right.
That had to do with some kind of an issue in Korea back in the early '50s,
Mhm.
so
Okay, yeah. Well,
but, yeah, that was Vietnam.
okay. I just saw a first Cav sticker on a car yesterday. I was like, "How perfect," because I'm on call with my dad on Tutum Talk
Yeah,
tomorrow, so
that's one of my favorite assignments, to be honest with you, because I like to fly helicopters every not fly, but I was in
yeah.
Overwatch on my military police convoys every
Mm,
morning
yeah.
for a number of hours, and then, so that was pretty exciting.
Very cool, very cool. Alright,
And
yeah, so first question yeah, like, we could talk for hours. I, like, just love to shut my trap and just listen, but, we'll stay focused, listeners, we'll stay focused. What habit or practice served you most throughout your career?
mm, probably keeping my ears open,
Mm,
listening, paying attention to your surroundings, situational awareness, I would say, understanding what the mission is and understanding the people that you have to work with
mm,
to get that mission done, whether it's in the military or civilian life, and I equate them all. I'm kind of a I don't know, I would say a motivational issue, you know? I think planning is very important. Leadership is, it's leadership is like is getting things done through other people, basically, and there's many ways of doing that.
mm,
And hand in glove with that leadership to keep people motivated to do things that you expect them to do and that they're trained to do is
mm,
management style. So you've got leadership and you've got management that kind of coexist. So management's all about organizing and planning whatever that mission's going to be to accomplish that mission. In the military, they were called op plans. So we had op plans for every contingency that you can imagine that's going on today. So
mhm,
anything you can imagine that could possibly happen in the world, the military is planning and creating these op plans.
mhm,
They're executed when the senior officer, the commanding general signs off on them. Now they become op ords, operational orders. That means execute whatever that plan was. So you prepare people to constantly train to take care of those plans and to make sure that everything is, all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed.
Mhm.
And, you wanna motivate people to make sure they're trained properly in their jobs to get that particular mission done. Everybody See, the military, you inherit a situation already where everybody you're structured, everybody's trained at a certain level in their specialty, everybody gets a basic training in combat operations, but otherwise, you specialize, like mine was military police, and then public affairs, other people are personnel specialists, artillery, armor, infantry, those are combat arms, combat supporter like military police, signal engineers, and then service supporter like personnel operations and adjutant generals. So, everybody's got a role to play, and everybody's trained at a certain level. So it's just a matter of making sure that the people that you're responsible for are trained up to the standards that the Army expects and what you expect as a leader and to get the
Right,
job done. So
right. Yeah.
I
Thank you.
rattled.
No, that's the point. Yes, ears, right? God gave us 2 of these and 1 of
Yeah.
these for a reason. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
It's
Okay, let's go on to the next. I've got little rabbit trails in my head, but, I'll stay focused. What
okay.
are what are key components of leadership from your perspective?
Uh, Something I was told years ago when I was a young officer by a guy named Max Thurman, is a four-star general, he's gone now.
Okay.
But he told me and many others, "When you're in charge, take charge."
Mm,
Very simply. So,
mm,
once you assume the responsibility of that leadership, whether it's a squad leader, company commander,
mhm,
battalion commander, division commander, president of the United States, when you're
mm,
in charge, you take charge, you're responsible.
right,
Now you can delegate authority to get things done with subordinates, but you cannot delegate the responsibility that's been given to you as the leader in that particular position. So
mhm,
delegate authority, but you cannot delegate responsibility. So
mhm,
that understanding
mm,
is, I think, a key component to your job as a leader in terms of understanding your situational awareness and, what you're doing, where are you, and why are you here? So you
mhm,
answer those questions and then get the job done,
yeah.
simply. So, and again, it's a blend, it's a blend of leadership and management. You manage you've gotta wrap them all together. Those are key components in getting the job done as a leader, whether in the
Mhm,
military or whether in an advertising agency with a shop of 10 people,
right,
or a company of 300 people that you're commanding, which I've done. So the principles are basically the same. You wanna
mhm,
get people ready, motivated to get the job done, and give them the resources to do it. And
it's a big one.
then you react to the outcome. So, you do after action reports in every situation on an operation so that you live and learn what to do better the next time, and you train to that level. So
Yeah. I I'm also remembering many times you teaching me just in story. It's not like we sit down and like, here's your leadership lesson for today, and then, close the
uh,
books and move on. But a key principle that I've learned from you over the decades is to celebrate your people when there's a win in the
yes,
ranks in the organization, and when
yes,
there is what I call learning opportunities or a failure, that you
yeah,
take that on. Like, you're
exactly.
not blaming your
Responsibility for
people.
it. You're right.
Right.
Yeah, you celebrate success. I'm big on participative management, if you will, as a leadership style. Wherever possible, I always take input from my subordinates. And it's,
Mhm.
here's the situation, here's what the mission is. What do you
Right,
think, Sarge? What do you think? What do you think? With
right,
the understanding that I will make the final decision. So I may not do what you specifically asked us to do, but I may take somebody else, but I expect everybody to pull the same on the rope together, okay? And if we succeed in the mission, everybody will celebrate together. If it's a screw up, that's on me. I'll take the hit for it.
right.
That's your responsibility as a leader.
Yeah,
It's to buffer basically your folks. So, but if
yeah.
you've got problems with internally with an individual, let's say someone if someone has made a mistake and you're in the company of subordinates and his peers or her peers, you never dress that person down in the front of their peer unless there's a learning moment. You always take things behind a closed door, okay? And what I would do occasionally when I was commanding a company, if I had a non-commissioned officer in this case there was one who was starting to fall down a little bit in his responsibilities,
Mhm,
as a consequence, his squad was his MPs were becoming less attentive to their job,
mm,
and he was getting overweight. He wasn't keeping up with his physical training. So I called him in about 90 days out from his efficiency report. In the military, you live and die by your efficiency report.
okay.
So, like an officer doesn't get 100%, we say you're walking on the water. If you can't walk in the water, you damn well better know where the rocks are. Okay,
Right.
you gotta cross that stream. So,
Yeah.
and it's the same with enlisted ranks, career. So here's a guy with 2 kids, a wife, family. He's a career non-commissioned officer. So I call him in and I said, "Sarge, you've got 90 days to your efficiency report, and we've got some things we need to talk about." I would
Mm,
show him. I said, "If I were to give you your efficiency report today, this is what it would look like." And I would put that in front of him.
mm,
After he wiped the tears from his face, I said, "Okay, now that's not what it's gonna have to be. We've got 90 days to get it better."
mm, mm,
So I call that coaching. So
right,
you can call it leadership or whatever, but I'm coaching him. I'm saying, "Here are the things I expect you to do in the next 90 days."
mm,
And I'll enumerate, say 5 or 6, whatever the issues are. And I
mm,
expect to have you, by your own volition, to get those done. If you can't, I expect you to tell me that
right,
you can't do it for whatever reason, and we'll work it out. But in the meanwhile, I don't wanna see you again for 90 days about your efficiency until it's time to give you a report. So I expect to see improvement.
yeah.
And that was pretty effective when you, especially with a guy that's making a military career. So
Yes, yes. And what I'm hearing in that practice is empathy and compassion for your fellow human beings because you are doing to them like you're offering to them what you would want offered to
it's the
yourself.
golden rule. Yeah. Do as unto others as you would have them do on you. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, and they're in that practice, even though it's a private conversation, I have to believe that others were learning from you and from that experience on
Mhm.
how to carry out grace and compassion in those moments. And so that's that ripple effect as well.
Yeah, it reads like on it's on your sleeve of your shirt. People understand what you're all about, just the way you
Mhm.
conduct yourself on a day-to-day, basis. And
Right.
that's as true with on the job as in the family, you know?
Right.
So you need to lead by example, as they say.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, because you could have used those moments as like a gotcha or
And that serves no
and
purpose. No,
what was that?
that serves no purpose to have that attitude.
Exactly, yeah, so and that's where I really lean into when I heard hurt people, those types of behaviors like the "gotcha" and I
Yeah.
like, "Ha, I gotcha," like, that's someone else's pain, like, that's your pain that you're
Mhm.
putting onto somebody else, is how I think through those moments, so, I I guess this is, not a guess, I can feel what's coming in is that these are moments when I'm really proud to call you my dad, like,
Well,
you
thanks.
went into these moments
Mhm. Yeah, I
steady,
mean, I could have as
sure
a
of yours
company commander and a captain, I could pull somebody up and have them stand in front of my desk and salute me, chew their butt out for whatever the problem is, and then dismiss them.
right,
Now what good did that do? I just
exactly,
belittled the guy.
right,
He's probably not gonna understand. He's all he is hearing is that he's getting chewed out. He doesn't really hear what needs to be done. So,
right,
in an environment, just the 2 of us sitting across the desk from one another, talking about very real thing, his efficiency report, which makes or breaks his career, which affects his family and his kids, which I make
mhm,
a point of, got the job done.
right,
And in that particular case, the guy turned it around in that 3 months, and he got a good report, so,
right, right.
net
Uh,
experience.
what's coming in as well is that you're tapping into the why
Oh, sure.
of the experience, and
Uh-huh.
Simon Sinek I'll probably have to, like, fact check all these, but Simon Sinek, has a really popular TED Talk where he talks about the why is the golden circle, if you will, and
Mhm.
how when we tap into the why and he actually uses a good amount of marketing examples. He also uses Martin Luther King, that when we tap into the why first, we're actually tapping into, that it's about biology, not psychology, because we're tapping into the amygdala, which is
Mhm.
this, like, little almond-sized part of our brain, and
Mhm.
it has no language. It only has feeling. So when you tap into the feeling first and then go back draw back out to the frontal cortex. So you're going from center through the frontal cortex. So you start with the why, and then the what, and then the how.
Hmm.
That's motivated. That's when you get them. So, like his example, Apple, right? It starts with this inspiring why and finishes with, like, we just make really
Apple, what
awesome
do you mean by Apple? You mean like the computer?
Apple the computer, like their early advertising.
Oh,
You
okay.
just felt drawn to go get an Apple because they started with the why first.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Martin Luther King offered up, "I have a dream, not I have a plan." Like, no one's inspired like, dreams inspire that amygdala. It activates the amygdala. So you're actually drawn to that feeling. I'm sure with your advertising career, you knew you had a hit of a, I don't even know what you call it, but a really solid proposal when you actually tapped into the why for it, like, you tapped into the feelings that inspired
The emotion.
the emotions.
Yeah.
Yes, inspired. So, yeah, I'd be so curious to hear from you, either now or another time, where you learned to do that, how you learned that tapping into the humanity and the feelings.
That's a good point, and let me in my case, there was a I'll never forget the guy, his name was Roosevelt T. Daniels, he was an armored sergeant who'd been in Vietnam, he was my drill sergeant in basic training at, Fort Lewis, Washington in 1966,
Okay.
and he shared with me, he said, "If you ever become an officer," because he knew I was a candidate for officer candidate school, he
Mm,
said, "If you get your commission, one of the first things you need to do now you're gonna outrank everybody that's below you as a non-commissioned, even the sergeant major, but you're only a second lieutenant,
mm,
and your knowledge is very limited, so you need to have a mentor. So you
mm,
find a good senior non-commissioned officer to take you under his wing.
mm,
He will salute you and call you sir in public, but when you screw up, you give him the liberty to pull you aside and correct you where he sees fit." And I
mm,
did that, and it served me very well, and the fact that I was an enlisted man and then became a commissioned officer made a big difference, and that word spreads among the ranks, so that you have a little more credibility in my experience than, say, a West Pointer who just came out of New York, as a
right.
second lieutenant. Me, I was a private, so I'd been around the horn for a little bit before I got commissioned as a second lieutenant, and I found a non-commissioned officer at Fort Bliss, Texas, my first assignment. He was a supply sergeant,
Okay.
and, yeah, if he saw me make a mistake in some manner, he
Mhm.
said, "Sir, can we have a cup of coffee together?" And that was kinda like the code, "I'm gonna chew your ass. Let's go have a chat," and
Right.
I took it, and I understood, and then he'd say, "Sir, yes, sir, thank you," you know?
Yeah.
So, that
Yeah.
relationship is what helped me in my early years, anyway, my formative years, if you wanna call it that. So,
Yeah.
I had that 3 years at Fort Bliss under that guy's tutelage. Then I
Okay.
went to Vietnam, but I was a lot better prepared going as a captain with that 1 year ex that 3 years of experience with him and going directly as a second lieutenant, which was made all the difference in the world. So
Wow.
that served me well for the rest of my career.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love for listeners right now that invitation is possible across any industry,
Yes.
any profession.
Yeah.
Right, and even, like, cup of tea, cup of coffee, it's also global, right? It's anyone can practice that. I love that. Brilliant, and thank you to your mentor for
Yeah.
now teaching the next generations of leaders. Gosh, that's beautiful. Okay, are you ready for the next question?
Sure, what is it?
Alright, what's your favorite color?
Actually, blue.
There you go, mine too. Hey, there you
Infantry
go.
blue.
Alright, what do you encourage younger people leaders to keep in mind as they navigate their own leadership journey?
You don't know everything. You
Mm,
you can't possibly know it all. Let me look
mm.
at some notes that I was looking at.
Yeah, please.
Mm. You need what I call study your craft, understand what your job is and stay current with it. I mean, that's true of any profession, basically. You don't stop learning after you finish school. You continue to learn, probably even more so as the time goes on. And I
Mhm,
love learning new things every day. I mean, like I said, I'm 80 no, 79 and a half years old, and I
right,
keep learning new things, and I love it.
right.
Maybe that's Alzheimer's coming on, and I'm hearing things for the second time, and I don't realize it. It's like I saw this cowboy on the guy on this cowboy movie, and this guy named John Wayne. Great movie.
Who is this guy? Where is he? Yeah, where's he been? Yeah.
But no, seriously, you never stop learning. I mean, and you gotta stay current in your craft, as I call it. Now, I was in the military for 20 years. That was like, like a third of my life so far up to that point, or a quarter now. And then advertising for another 20 some years. And now this condominium association, which is an entirely different ball of wax, but
Right,
some of those same principles apply. And there's, in the case of the condo, we're governed by Florida Statute 718, which dictates your do's and don'ts in running a condominium association. There are probably as many rules here than as there are in the military. It's unbelievable. Most of them are
okay,
negative, like don't park in the grass and don't do this and don't do that. So, but others are positive, like you may fly the American flag, you can do this or that. So, but there are a lot of rules involved with the association, and that's because in a condo association, you're responsible as the owner for everything from the paint on the inside of your into
right,
inside of your unit, from
right,
the paint out, the drywall out, and everything on the property belongs to everybody else in the community. It's called common area property, you know?
right,
So, the rules that apply to one apply to all on the
mm,
outside of that unit. So you don't own the grass, you don't own the stucco wall outside. That's the responsibility of the condo association, the roofing, the landscaping, etcetera.
mhm,
So,
mhm,
in an HOA, that's where you have a single family home, and that's
right,
governed by Florida Statute 720, and there you are responsible for the roof and the outside and landscaping, so it's a different ball of wax. So,
yeah,
understanding that difference, but there's still principles involved in terms of leading people to understand what their responsibilities are as homeowners in the community, basically. So that's the
mhm,
job of the president with other board members,
yeah,
like a vice president, secretary, treasurer, and that, like, we have 5 members. So anyway, yeah, listening's pretty damn important to understand what people's grievances might be. I mean, you need a sounding board. You need to listen, understand, and then take appropriate action to alleviate that issue if there is something you can do about it,
mhm,
then be sensitive to it.
okay,
So,
yeah. Love it. Yeah, that key that I'm really hearing, lifelong learner. So even if it's not officially with your profession or your preferred profession, how are you continuing to develop yourself?
yes, on your
Ye
own. Yeah, in the
Right.
military, like, so I enlisted, I went through basic training, I was trained as an MP, then I went to officer candidate school, then I get a
Mhm,
commission as a military police officer. So the first thing I do, then I attend officer basic course in military police, so that's about a 2-month course.
okay.
Then after, I got back from Vietnam and I commanded a company for a couple of years, and I was selected for military police officer advanced course, and that
Mhm,
prepares you for selection to, like, major, for example, to field grade. So that's a
mhm,
9-month course where you learn more specifics about your job as a military police officer, as a captain.
mhm,
Then if you should be so lucky, you either do it by correspondence, or in my case, I was selected to attend in residence Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth. And that's
right.
for majors, preparing them for senior command in battalions and brigades, basically. And then
Mhm,
I retired as a lieutenant colonel, but if had we stayed in the military, then the next step, education-wise, would have been the Army War College, for example. So that's
okay,
for colonels, preparing them for general officer rank, basically.
okay.
So the military recognizes, obviously, the importance of education. But in the meanwhile, you continue to study. Always had a reading list of certain select books that I wanted to read about, different things.
Mhm,
And I
right.
do that to today. To this day, I have a reading list, and I've got a stack of books, and I'm still trying
Mm,
to wade through. Have my
yeah,
little reading order back in the lanai back there
yeah.
overlooking the lake, so but you never stop.
It's a very cozy corner, my friends, and in all sincerity, that what just came in was the importance that, space holds meaning.
Yes.
And creating those learning spaces as best as you're able, because your little reading corner, I love it when I visit you, like, it's quite serene, it's out, you've got the ability to have some nature around you in that reading corner, there's a little
It
pond back
truly is a park. It's called McGregor Park, and it really is a park. I mean, we've got
there.
every we've had a bear in here, we've had, coyotes, they're running around, I don't like that so much,
Right.
but
Yeah.
a lot of, wildlife, a lot of
Right.
gators, fish, birds, so it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as best as able, creating that learning space where
Yeah.
you can really soak up. to suck up what you're consuming,
Mhm.
in a just more of a distraction-free environment, I think is really important, so
Yep.
beautiful. All right, last question, and I've got a couple of little thoughts in my head, but we'll go with the last. Do fathers serving in leadership, and people leader roles, what wisdom or advice comes to heart and head to share?
As fathers
Mm,
in a
yeah.
leadership role,
Yeah, so parents, folks, fathers, parents,
I think the
sort of
same principle. I mean, you raise your kids to a standard in the
mhm,
home, whether
mhm,
you're there or not, in our case.
yeah,
Again, it's leading by example and how you
mm,
behave, hopefully making discipline a learning experience and not, something mean. I always
yeah,
thought it's important to, you have to have discipline, but at the same time, you expect, cooperation, and hopefully let it be a learning experience for your case or for, we went through a traumatic time and I said, let's don't talk about it, but let's admit the fact that your mother and I divorced.
mhm, mhm,
Your brother was 14, you were 11, and Devin was 8 years old. And Scott had issues talking with me for a while.
sure,
Devin, in his capacity, found it very difficult to understand what was going on, obviously, and
mhm,
that was very sad.
yeah,
But you, and I'll never forget, put your arms around me and said, "Dad, it's gonna be okay."
yeah,
So,
yeah,
we had the bond.
for
Very
sure,
emotional experience even now.
yeah, yeah. I love you, Dad.
Love you too,
Love
dude.
yeah. I so
You can edit that out.
no, no, it's beautiful because as you thank you listeners for yeah, like, grab your hankies, everybody, grab your Kleenex, here we are, yes, like, being real, tapping into the feels, right? You said we have a bond, and it's, of course, true. I'm also, like, I'm gonna name I'm the only daughter between like, I'm the daughter between 2 brothers, between 2 sons, and so, like, there's something to be said for daddy's girl, like, I've always, like, I'm dad's girl, you know?
Well, you could also do a great down and out and catch a pass about 30 yards out. So I always thought that was pretty damn good.
So for the global friends, that's American football, and that is a passing route down
Yes,
American
football,
football.
football, yeah.
Yes. So those bonds and I made, like, little notes of, just a couple of points as I was thinking about the questions and not quite anticipating what you would say because I do my best to suspend expectations and suspend assumptions,
Mhm.
and I was
Less
making
scripted you're talking about, right?
yes, yes, and I was making some mental notes on, like, "Oh, I wanna bring this into the conversation because these I think are really important that might not come up organically." And to your point of our special bond and related to this question about parents, I very much remember I think I was 6, 7 years old, and you and I had Saturday morning dad and daughter time where we would go to Deerfield Bakery, and this
Mhm.
is north suburbs of Chicago, so shout out to Deerfield Bakery, I think it's still very much there and
Entrusted.
thriving.
The donut run, yeah.
The donut run, yes, and I so, that's another element that I believe is really important to name here that parents, caretakers in leadership roles. What you practiced, Dad, was remembering that you also still have family. And
Mhm.
so I'm sure Saturday mornings, you could have done a lot of different things. I'm sure your plate was very full and you intentionally carved out time where it's just Dad and Kara, and we're off to go get a donut, have some time together, and then, like, I don't remember how the rest of the Saturday went, and in my for me, like, that is galvanized in my memory. Same with having those walks with mom. There was something so special to me. So I'm so thankful that both of you carved out intentional time. And not only at Deerfield Bakery, like you had intentional time with me. You've always been very purposeful with having very intentional time, both of you, with having intentional time with me of like, how are you, Kara? Like, yes, we've got you, your brothers, of course, but what's going on with you? And that I think is so I'm so thankful, and I'd imagine it's a bit unique in
Well, yeah,
homes where
I wish we had more time in the formative years, but unfortunately, it
it's okay.
is what it is, and
Right, right.
you've turned out okay as a result of it. You're not damaged goods.
Phew,
They
thank goodness.
yeah. So, yeah, it was kinda traumatic, and that's to me, that situation's abuse, to be honest with you,
Mm,
to put kids through that kind of trauma. I didn't go through that.
right,
My
right,
parents are were together to the end,
right.
but I wasn't for you guys, so I carry that with me, it hurts, but,
Yeah,
I'm glad to see that and you make me very proud of what you've accomplished, so I'm not worried about what happened, but I just feel bad that it maybe I don't know if wanna say it could have been better, but I could have been there, but
right,
I
right.
wasn't, so you live with it,
Well,
so
the moments when you were, I also very much remember. I share with friends now. It's so interesting that these memories are coming up more and more, I think because of what I continue to co-create with God, with divine. And I consistently have you like I've got my father and I've got my dad. And I consistently hear you say, I think it was the fall of my senior year of high school, and you were staying with us. Mom was traveling for business, and you were staying with us, and I was doing something, and you were just like, "Now what are you doing?" Like, I was just like, boom, boom, like, in and out of the house, in and out of the house, because Scott was in the Army, and Devin I think you were there to make sure that Devin,
yeah,
like, whatever, like, you were just taking care of us. And I distinctly remember you saying I think we were in the living room, and you just said, "You know, whatever you put your mind to, there's no stopping you." There is no point in me and I think I was 17, and it felt like this, like, your final surrender of, like, "There's
yeah,
nothing that I'm
yeah,
gonna be
this
able to say
yep,
to talk
yep,
around it."
you're
Yeah.
in trouble.
Right, right, yeah, yeah.
Don't hurt
So what was that?
don't hurt yourself.
Exactly, exactly. Like, of course, do it safely, right? So that's where
Yep.
mom comes in with the occupational safety and health, like, phew,
Oh, of course, yeah.
right? So raised that way.
Yeah,
And then the last note, and I find it quite poetic that we are recording on a blue moon, which was, from what I understand from Aunt Hepsy, the youngest, was grandma's, your mom's favorite song,
yeah,
Blue
that's what I
Moon.
heard. I didn't know that, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So
like I said, Hepsi was 3 when I left, and I
right,
never went back except on leave occasionally, so I missed all that since 1966, so there's a lot of things that happened in that family that I have no idea what they went through, so
it's like a distant movie or something.
I left when I was 19 and I never looked back, so
Yeah. Yeah, 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 and so, I also hear a lot of acceptance, right? Like, take the learning moments with you and
mhm,
accept and move forward. That I've gotten from you many times, like, when a job didn't work out or something like like a relationship didn't work out for me, a job, like, whatever life
yeah,
experience and your consistency of, like, "You did your best, sweetie, drive on."
yep,
Like, drive on is
yeah.
also seared in, like, just keep moving
I've
forward.
always told you guys, once you make a decision, you live with it. You don't
Right.
look back and say, "Oh, if only I had." Never
Right,
put yourself in that situation, always look forward.
right.
Keep looking forward, so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, bringing up grandma, of course, like, all of our aunts, all of our angels are with us, but I found it quite poetic to be Blue Moon, and this is the month of her birthday. This is the end of May that we're recording. This is coming out Dad's weekend or Dad's week, so happy Father's Day
Yeah,
early.
thank you.
But
She would have
you
been
start what was
101.
that?
Yeah, she would have been 101 on May 25th, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in my head, I was like Dalmatians, like jokes, 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 jokes. And so this leads me into the humor that you bring. And I love that you started with humor. It's just who you are. And
Mhm,
I remember, Haha, your grandmother, so my great grandmother,
yes,
she was called Haha because you, as a young boy,
baby,
inspired her to laugh so much.
yeah. Well, she my parents lived with them when I was first born in 1946, and she'd
Hmm.
come home from work, and she'd look into my bassinet and go, "Ha, ha, ha." So I identified her with that, "Ha, ha," and that stuck
Oh.
her whole life.
Oh, I thought it's because you made her laugh so much, like, you're just your
Well,
humor.
she would lean into my bassinet and say, "Ha, ha, ha," to get a reaction out of me, and I
Oh,
identified her with that "ha, ha." So and I
gotcha.
called her "ha,
Okay.
ha" ever since, and everybody else picked up on it after
Oh,
that. So that's where that came from.
got it. Okay. Well, see, mystery solved, everybody. Because the other piece that I think is really important to learn in leadership and just life is that fun is the frequency. Like, really lean into if you're not having fun, really sit with that and either figure out ways to, like, kick up a little bit of joy, or maybe it's time to shift into something else and pivot into something
Yeah,
else. So,
if
I'm
you're not
curious
happy
your thought.
with
Yeah.
it, yeah,
Like, what would you like to share with, the listeners on that aspect? Yeah.
be happy in your work because you're a long time dead. Be
Mm,
happy in your work, so enjoy what you're doing. If you're not, find something that makes you happy,
yeah.
so that
Yeah.
you find satisfaction in anyway. Have a
Right.
sense of accomplishment. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and as a leader, the troops always eat first, you eat last.
Yeah.
I would leave you with that thought.
Alright.
I did have a story when I was an infantry officer
Good.
candidate school. There was about lessons learned. We were in field exercises, and so it's infantry, and, in this case, I was a squad leader of 12 men, including myself, and there was a machine gun position that we had to take out, so I split the squad in half, and I had one half lay down a base of fire
Mhm.
at the machine gun nest, and then I took the other squad around through a ravine to flank the nest,
Okay.
which we successfully did, and we overtook the nest, and so we've got instructors are out there, grading our performance. So after my team flanked and took the nest, then I called up the balance of the squad to come up to basically celebrate the victory,
Mhm.
and as they gathered, all of a sudden, above us, a second machine gun opened up, boom, 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 and the instructor announced, "Good job, you just had everybody killed." From that day on, I walk through trees and I look around buildings. I'm always looking up into the trees. I'm always looking for open windows in buildings. So that was over 60 some years ago. I will never forget that lesson.
Yeah.
So I should have dispersed our troops, and it's called dispersion, and I didn't disperse the troops, and everybody got killed because of it. So
Right. Like,
but hard
metaphorically.
lesson learned.
Right. And that was metaphorically killed, like, in a practice that
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
right. But
yeah,
just for clarity for listeners, like,
rather
not
sweat
right.
on the training field than bleed on the battlefield.
Right. Right. So, and carrying that lesson into all industries, it sounds and, correct me if this isn't exactly where you're going, that the celebrations, like, be mindful
Yeah,
of
just like the situational awareness.
right,
See, I
right,
wasn't. I
right.
failed in that department on that particular episode, but it was training, so it was lesson learned. Never made such a mistake again. I was never in that position again, to be honest. I never had to close on a machine gun nest. But the idea was, I didn't complete the job as it should have been completed. So that was a learning process for me.
Mm,
And I think most people that went through there probably had the same experience or similar. I
yeah.
don't know.
No, I love that. Yeah, so more so, not so much the celebration, complete the job thoroughly. Like,
Yeah,
don't leave a job
yeah. See, then
not done.
you don't have like in Vietnam, you don't have weekends.
Right.
It's 24 hours a day, 7
Mhm.
days a week. You
Mm,
get your sleep time in there, but you're constantly on the go. You're constantly doing the mission, you know?
right,
There's
right.
not if you go to chapel, it's probably the only break you get besides chow and, and hitting the rack at night so long as things are quiet. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's an intense 1 year,
Yeah.
but I can't imagine what our forefathers did during World War II. It was for the duration.
Right,
You go over
right,
there, you don't know when you're coming home, so
right, right. Yeah. Well, on that note, many thanks for service to everybody serving. Yes. All right, Pop. Any other final thoughts for listeners as we round this out?
any other nuggets? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, I got one other thing.
Please.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're talking about infantry and leadership. Back in World War II, there was a guy named, what was his name? General, gosh, hold on a second. Newman. His name is Red Newman. He was a major gen or he was a regimental commander in the Leyte Gulf battle in the Philippines,
Okay.
and he always said, "Men, follow me. I am infantry," basically, and so it became the motto of the infantry for the US Army, "Follow me," and that was the epitome of leadership. He led the
Mhm.
troops, "Follow me, I'm infantry." Anyway, thought I'd share that.
No, I love that, and it's so interesting because there's different thoughts on is leadership up at the front? Are they following behind to make sure everybody's there, right? Like, it's
Yeah,
would you also then say that is at times situational, like where leadership is in the
you're most effective, yeah.
right, right. So and so therefore that is more of a situational conversation. What is going to be the most effective approach?
They had a saying in the MPs that as an officer, you should go in and pick up the pieces, don't get your pieces picked up. In words, it's
Mm,
like a bar brawl or something, you don't go waiting in there. Let let
right.
let let your MPs go take it and do the job, and you come in and police up the area afterwards. Don't get
Mhm.
mixed in the middle of it 'cause you're not gonna serve anybody that way.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah. Well, as I think it's very difficult to come up with a summary. I don't think that's necessary. And really key takeaways that I'm like keeping with me from our conversation is truly the spirit and practice of bringing humanity into any and all relationships.
Mhm,
Professional and personal, that we're, staying curious, although you did not say that, that is what I'm hearing from you in those practices. You did your best to stay curious. Like,
mhm.
let me, like,
Say
this
that.
is my perspective, let me hear theirs,
Yeah,
and then move forward from there.
yeah, but
Yeah,
recognizing that you're ultimately responsible regardless as the leader.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the
And that you shared that transparently, correct? Like, you were transparent
Oh,
with the
sure. Yeah,
right,
I made it very clear that I'm the boss, but I wanna hear what you have to say about what we have to do here, because you
right.
may have more experience than I do. That's like I said, in the military, you inherit a situation, you inherit people that have already been trained to a certain
Mhm,
level in their specialty. But in
mhm,
the civilian world, let's say, like, when I came down here and joined this advertising company, um, one of the senior guys in the company, there were only 6 of us at the time, but he remembered that in Chicago after I retired, because we worked together at Ogilvy and Mather in Chicago,
mm,
that, I was in the public relations department, and this fledgling advertising company here in Fort Myers did not have a public relations, so he said, "Would you mind creating a public relations section for us?" Because we were growing. I mean, we
yeah,
grew to like 30 some people from a beginning of about 7. So it was meteoric, basically, and it was really moving fast. So anyway, I developed a plan for the public relations section for the advertising company,
mm,
marketing company, and
mhm,
my intent was to hire people smarter than me to run that shop, even though I'm in charge. So the notion there is when you have the chance, surround yourself with smart people, with people that are smarter than you, and rely on them, trust in them, and form a relationship with them that is best for all of you while
right,
still being in charge.
right.
You never give that up. So
Yeah, and in that practice, I'm I feel inspired to name the security that you have within yourself,
yes, to
like
be able
that
to be able to hire smarter people to
exactly.
help you along to grow the business. Yeah,
Correct,
absolutely.
correct.
People
Yes.
who write better than I do, think outside the box better than I do, perhaps, whatever, but
Mhm.
appreciate that and work with it.
Right,
Yep.
right. So for listeners out there, if you're feeling like that's a stretch, like, that doesn't fit, like, no, I that how
Well,
would
time
anybody
to give
know
it
more
a try.
than
If
I
it
would?
doesn't work, it's trial and error. I mean, if you have the time to do it, but and
Sure,
it's not I mean, in advertising, it's not as life-threatening as a military situation, so,
sure.
you know,
Right, right.
different environment, but, the principles are the same, I think.
Absolutely, yeah, and where I was going with that is for listeners who if you're thinking like, "No, I wouldn't wanna hire anybody smarter than me," my invitation then
That's
is
the ego
check
thing.
with yourself
That's the
about
ego
your own security.
Yeah.
Yeah, your ego. Right.
Put your ego aside.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right, Pop.
Well,
Any other
to
any other nuggets? What was that?
thanks for the opportunity to I won't say vent, but to share with you.
Yes. No, I'm so thankful that you were able to come onto the podcast because, again, that's why I write in the About Us section of my website, Tutum Leadership Coaching, because it's important to me to share with folks, anybody who's, interested in hearing that I am who I am because of my mom and dad raising me the way they did with leadership principles. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to share now with the world of y'all's perspectives and insights. They're truly golden wisdom, and feel free to come back on the show whenever you like, whenever you're feeling inspired, come on back. Yeah.
All right, sweetie.
All right. I love you, Pop.
Love you too, baby.
All right. Bye.